Hi everyone. We're going to go through your change or improvement plan, and basically this is a plan that you're going to devise, and it is a plan. It is not something that you need to implement in this practicum period. This is a plan for the practicum organization, practicum unit. If there's something specific that needs to be changed or improved within your practicum site, you're going to develop a plan for that improvement or change. So nitty gritty, it's a 1,000-word document, and it's worth 15% of your grade. What you're going to do is work with your preceptor. You're going to identify an area of focus for the improvement or change, and you're going to write a paper and dive into the evidence, what needs to be done to implement this particular improvement or change, and what has worked in the past. You're going to be looking at applying evidence-based practice as part of your plan. So in the paper itself, you're going to provide an overview of the challenge. You're going to provide an overview of the organization, what is needed to improve or change, and it may be a policy, it may be a new regulation that they're needing to follow. It may be creating a positive workplace culture, creating joy in work. It may be a new system or process to limit risk in patient care. Any of those things can be an area of focus, but it needs to be something meaningful for the organization and very appropriate for the organization. So that's what you're going to focus on in the very beginning of your paper. And please use the headings like organization challenge, and then list out the components that are listed on the rubric or address those components. And then the next section would be your change or improvement background. So when you get into the change or improvement background, you really want to go into the literature, appropriate literature. This is key. Appropriate literature that's congruent with the type of organization where you're doing your practicum. Very often it's much easier to access some resources from kind of obscure references, and they're not all bad. I'm not saying that, but you want to make sure that you're choosing the best evidence for the organization that you are doing your practicum. So you want to look at something that's similar as far as where studies have been done or where an evidence-based practice was implemented and successful. You want to look at what is congruent with your particular organization. So are the practicum organization where you are. So what you're going to do is dive into the literature, and you're going to look at the proposed improvement or change. What's out there in the literature? What evidence is there? What has been done about this particular challenge? Or what has been implemented based on the evidence that has been successful to address this particular challenge or what's going on in the organization. And you're also going to provide an overview of what you choose as your change model or your improvement model. So you may use Kotter's 8 stages of change. You may use Lewin's 3 stages. Whatever you choose, specifically go to that resource and outline what that model entails, each one of the different steps in the model. And the same holds true if you use an improvement model. You want to line out like the Plan, Do, Study, Plan, Do, Check, Act. So you want to say plan. What does that mean? Do. What does that mean? So you want to outline that in the section of the background. And then when you dive into the organization specific plan, what you will do is correlate your plan. What goes in, say for instance, the PDCA, what goes in the plan phase? What are you going to do in the plan phase? And then what are you going to do in the do phase, and on down the different steps. And the same holds true if you use Lewin. What are you going to do when you're looking at the unfreeze stage? And vice versa. Each one of the stages, what steps are going to be taken during that time to ultimately get to your goals and objectives based on this particular challenge, change, improvement that you are planning for this practicum organization. So if you have any questions about doing that, let me know. You do need to have a reference for your improvement or change model. Define what that model is, and then you're going to correlate your plans with that particular model or improvement model. So when we get into the conclusion, you want to bring it all together. You want to make sure that you provide a synopsis as far as the major points. Backing up a little bit to the plan, make sure that you have some way to evaluate your plan as well, and also the probability of successful implementation. So then follow with your conclusion. Again, the heading would be conclusion, and make sure that you're tying everything together as far as reviewing the major points. Overall, we want to make sure that you're using good sentence structure and that your flow is logical. You want to use headings in your paper to structure your paper. Again, it needs to be at least 1,000 words. It doesn't have to be extremely lengthy by any means. You want to be clear and concise with what you're writing. If you do want to outline your timeline in bullet points or on a true timeline as a visual, you may most certainly do that. You can do your goals and objectives in bullet points, but the remainder of it needs to be in paragraph format. Make sure that you cite appropriately according to APA, and use the guidance in the APA manual. Page 177 for the in-text citations, and then the citations in the reference list, the examples start on page 198. Also, make sure that you have those really solid references for your proposed change or improvement, and make sure that they're appropriate for your organization and the organization's culture as well. That's a key component. So let me know if you have absolutely any questions about doing the change plan. I look forward to reading what you come up with. And again, bringing this all together, such a key element as far as successful improvements or change actually happens behind the scenes as far as making those changes, setting them up for success. It's all about engaging folks that are important as far as those stakeholders to set the stage for improvement, and involving those who matter in the improvement as well. So all considerations. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I look forward to reading your papers. Take care now.